It is 11:55 a.m. on Christmas Eve. I do not have a Santa hat. This is the closest thing to a Santa hat that I have. And this is the second most festive sweater that I own. My most festive I wore to a party like 4 years ago, and I never washed it. I don't even know where it is. Hello and welcome. My name is Alex. I make music as Arcade Island. I just put out an album called Dreaming in the Void. Go listen to it. If you have listened to it, you get a gold star or a cookie, because it's Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy holiday of choice, or just happy Wednesday. If you've seen any of the other ones, you know the deal. I'm going through every song on the album, and I'm going to show you how I made it. Last week was Last Prayer. Last week was Last Prayer. Today is Droplet. Droplet came to being the same way that Good Deeds came to being, and that is I had a brief little demo of just a quick couple of chords and a hook from years ago. And as this record was coming together, there was just some je ne sais quoi about it that made me decide I'm going to turn it into a whole song. And I just fleshed it out from there. And you can hear what that original POS sounds like now. So yeah, I mean, all I have there is just the first part of the song. Like, I didn't have the choruses. Once I started fleshing this out in the demoing process, that the choruses were something that just fell into place when I started writing it. This was one of the tougher ones to arrange and to mix. So let's get into it. Starting at the top, at the end of Last Prayer, is this guitar swell. It was very simple to make, so I just put it down on a track below, reversed it, put a reverb on it, bounced it to another track, then reversed it again, and then just automated the volume into the opening beat. That was something that I did at the very end of this whole recording process. It's important to me that all of the songs on the album feel like they're in the right place, and one of the ways to do that is not just through listening to it and creating a track sequencing that makes sense from like a storytelling perspective. But also, I like transitioning songs into each other. Sometimes I'll do it at a much more complex level, like the transition between Savannah Moon and To Leviathan, where I specifically kind of wrote it in the right key and had it end in a specific way, so that way it would transition into it. And other times I just do stuff like this. I just do a quick little swell that I can place or rather Steve Kilpatrick, who mastered the record, can place at the end of the song before it, and then just tell the software to export Droplet starting right here. We have these guitars here, left and right, and those were originally in that little demo. They were just keyboard hits that with a ton of delay on them. I took the chord from the piano or the keyboard, and I just transcribed it to how I would play it on a guitar and added a delay to it. I sent both of these left and right. I have both of these guitar signals going to this bus called verse guitar. And I just added some chorus, some EQ, some compressor to glue it together. And then this very sharp, very staccato quarter note delay. The song starts and we pretty much jump right into the verse. The vocal stack for the verse is a triple stack. So we have this primary lead. Something from nothing. Formless yet holding shape. And then later on, we have some harmonies that come in. And then all three of these signals go to a bus called verse out. And that's where I just, again, some bus compressor to glue everything together. And then I have some delay and a little reverb. And then that 4-bar section repeats. And we bring in some other elements here. The first is this warbled arpeggio that came off of my Korg mini log. This wasn't actually created by an arpeggiator, which would be like the sequencer on a synthesizer that would just do that for you once you set up the pattern. I actually did draw out or play out those notes. And it is an arpeggiation that goes up and then back down. And because it goes up and back down, it's basically a symmetrical pattern. So if you play it forward or back, it sounds the same. But I recorded it twice. Once I have it playing in reverse. and the other is just playing forward. And when you play them together, they're actually playing the same notes, but they sound so different from each other. And then we have some percussion elements. We have this kick, which is comprised of really two components. Just like previous songs, I just hit my fist on the piano bench and then brought it in and just manipulated it. So I shifted it down in frequency, added some sub frequencies with submarine, it added some distortion and then an EQ. And that sounds like this. So that was pretty percussive. And then I kind of cranked it up a little bit on this one and then added some delay. And together they sound like this. This is me wrapping my knuckles on top of a bucket. In this same bucket, I'm going to use my fingertips, and so it's a little bit of softer sound. And you know what? I'm stumped. I recorded this probably like 6 months ago. I don't actually remember what this is. It sounds like, I don't know, like I have coins or something in my hand. I have a distinct memory recording this album where I took some coins in my hand. I'm not even going to do the motion because you know what it looks like. And I just have some coins in my hand and I'm shaking them. And I think that's what I did here. Let's just say that's what I did here. Right here, I took some coins in my hand and I shook them, and that's what it sounds like. And when you put all those together, that percussion section sounds like this. Then right as the first verse ends and then we get into this first instrumental portion, the beat drops out. And I bring in some harmonies on my vocals. When I'm gone, for when I'm gone. You'll hear me just slide down on the bass, and the bass is recorded like every single song. I'm going to put a disclaimer in it. I recorded it direct input. And kind of a disco beat, so just kind of a 4-on-the-floor rhythm on this song. Same thing with the drums here. I'm not going into it. I'm not getting into it, okay? There's a lot that goes into the drums, and I don't have 4 hours. And neither do you, I'm guessing. The hardest drums to play on the album, okay? The meme is true. I could probably play like a punk beat pretty damn well, but playing a really good 4-on-the-floor, this isn't even really good, I don't think, is hard. So the drums and bass play this rhythm. Kind of like a post-punk disco kind of rhythm. It almost sounds something like, it kind of reminds me of Psycho Killer by Talking Heads. And you'll notice that the rhythm in the bass, as well as in the hi-hats, basically matches at those portions. So the bass goes dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, and then the hi-hat goes. I don't even need to play instruments. All right, my voice is. We have this drone that is you make a drone on a synthesizer is the easiest thing in the world, right? You just take a delay. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, but the way that I do it is I just find a patch that I like, set the delay to basically 100% to it's infinite, and then I just record parts of it. I didn't think that this hit right when it comes in sounded strong enough just as it was. When I'm gone. And so I just needed a little something, a little hit right here. And that's when I added this thing. I don't even know what it is. I should have done these all like in a week after I recorded the album because the memories are starting to fade of how I even made it. I'm assuming I made it probably on my Korg Mini Log. That's like my primary synthesizer that I do like sound design on. Have a long analog delay on it and a compressor to just keep it in check. But I think that just makes it sound like something starting a little bit more. And then we have the string melody here, which originally was MIDI, which I still have in there. It sounds fine, I guess. I was going a little hard on the MIDI strings and other songs, but I'll be nice. And I sent those to Jess and Tom, and then they recorded it and then sent me this back. I blended the original MIDI strings underneath it at a much lower volume, just to help it stand out a little bit more. And then there's just a little counter melody that comes up. And then we go into verse 1, part 2, or verse 2. I don't know how to define it. It comes with the season. There's a little call and response vocal here. Truly I'm in here. I'll never be sorry. And then the verse ends, and just before the chorus, we have this quick little pre-chorus, which is just us playing guitar by itself. And it's sort of musical foreshadowing in a way, so you'll hear this melody later on. Right here, I kind of chopped this up just to help emphasize the rhythm. I just played it sort of straight. I let the notes ring out. I didn't play it so staccato as it sounds here. And then as I was mixing and everything had already been recorded and I had listened to it a million times, I was like, it's not really quite leading into the chorus as hard as I want. And so I just came through and I chopped these up a little bit, and that's how it sounds. Then the chorus hits, and we have distorted guitars left and right. And I had these on I have the tone selector and the guitar set to the more muted setting. This guitar sound kind of reminds me of like peak Incubus days, like Mike Einzinger's guitar style. He always had these chunky, very boxy, percussive guitar sounds. And when he was playing it clean, it sounded really like smooth and ethereal. But when he would play like harder riffs on like Nice to Know You or something like that, it would sound really thick like these. Or maybe like a 2000s group, like a nu metal, like Dead Sea or something like that. So yeah, left and right, just like every other song. One is an amp, one is DI. And the bass is following along, playing the same root notes. In a few places here, I just cut out some noise in between the hits, like some of the string noise from like my fingers moving in between chords, as well as like the amp noise. And a few places it was a little distracting, so I just like cut back on it. And then during the demoing process, the choruses just sounded like this. Am I dreaming or awake? What's the difference anyway? It kind of just sounds like there's not enough. There just sounds like something's missing. I don't really know what it is, but it just sounds like something's missing. And so when I was recording this and I got to the guitars, even though I had demoed it out as that, and I thought that would be enough, I thought maybe I would just figure out some kind of synthesizer melody or something like that. I actually just thought to myself, there's a space here. Am I dreaming or awake? So there's no vocal melody there. There are these eighth note hits. Am I dreaming or awake? Then this response section with nothing going on in like the mid range or the melody range. And so I just kind of came up with this on the spot. And then when I did that, I was just like, duh, there always had to be something there. And going back to what I've said on other songs, arrangement is so important. I could have a melody going the entire time that I'm singing, but then it gets a little muddy. You're kind of listening to two things at once. They can occupy the same frequency range. And so when you have spaces in your song like this, instead of trying to use different frequencies or trying to use panning left and right or volume to try to make space for each other, you can just use time as a tool as well. What's the difference? The vocal stack in the chorus is a 5 vocal stack. So we have tripled vocals. We have a primary. Am I dreaming or awake? And then I sang that 2 more times, left and right at a lower volume. Am I dreaming or awake? So that together it sounds like this. Am I dreaming or awake? And then I have a harmony underneath it that I sang twice, left and right.
Am I dreaming or awake?
And all together it sounds like this.
Am I dreaming or awake?
And I sent all of those to Vox Chorus Out, which is a bus over here. I threw a lot of saturation distortion on it, which is this decapitator plugin, some strong bus compression to glue everything together. And then I actually used a multi-band compressor here. Multi-band compression, as the name implies, allows you to compress different parts of the frequency spectrum separately. So a regular compressor will just compress the whole signal. I have a lot more heavier compression right here around like my sibilants. Rather than cutting it all out with the de-esser, this keeps the sibilant sounds in there, and sibilant sounds are your shs and t's and stuff like that. I just put a multi-band compressor on here and just really squashed it in that area. So you can still hear it and you're getting that clarity amidst all of that chaos, but it's not so out of control that it starts to be unpleasant to listen to. And then as the chorus ends, I bring in another clean guitar. So we have this clean guitar that was playing that little melody throughout the whole chorus is playing this. And then another clean guitar is coming in to do this in a syncopated way. Which you probably don't hear in the song, really. And then as we come out of the chorus, everything drops out except we still keep the drum beat. You can see right here I had to fix one of my snares. And then we have strings. So we have the strings that Jess and Tom sent me, which are the real deal. And then I still kept the MIDI strings in there just to boost them a little. All the strings, by the way, are also, including the MIDI strings, are also all going to a bus for the strings that has some delay on it. Then we have the drone, the Korg. I have to fix this. I'm sorry. Good God. We have the Korg drone from the beginning that I just copied and pasted and then just found a good spot for it and just automated the volume just to help transition us into the second verse. And as we get into the second verse, it's pretty much the exact same, except I have a lot more harmonies on it. So the vocal becomes like a stack.
Take it for granted if you feel comfortable.
As we get into the second repetition of the verse, I bring that string melody from the beginning back in. And then we have a second pre-chorus here, and this is a little different from the first. The first one was just that melody, and this one we actually introduced some new chordal elements here, which are all played on the strings. This clean guitar is playing up top. And we have my vocals here, and this is just its own thing here. This is its own track. It's not going to any buses or anything like that. And this one is sort of a telephone effect. So I have some flanger on there, and the EQ here is the same. Okay, I thought I did something different there. I guess not. I have a flanger on it, and I don't know how I got it to sound so.
I cannot describe myself.
I'm starting to forget all the things that I did on the song. This is not very helpful. Okay, next one, I'm going to do a little bit more research before just jumping into it. And so I can try to remember what I did. But on this one, actually, you know what? Maybe it's in the decapitator. That's where I did it. Okay, in the decapitator, I really cranked up the low cut here and brought the tone towards like the brighter side of the spectrum. And that makes it sound a little tinnier.
I cannot describe myself.
I could go back and just redo this and re-edit it, but I'm not going to, okay? Because I'm going for authenticity here. And I'm nothing if not authentic, I hope. This second chorus is the same as the first chorus. I didn't do anything super different, except it's just repeats, and I have a slightly new lyrics here. And just like in other songs where I've had to overlap the lyrics, I did the same thing that I did in other songs. These all are going to the same bus down here, but once I had a good sound on the first vocal stack, I could just copy and paste it to these, and I just recorded it twice.
The way I lay me down to sleep.
And I still think that the waves, when I listen to this song back, get lost a little bit in the mix.
The waves.
But, what can you do? I think it sounds better than trying to like rush the vocal out or like crossfade them. That would just sound terrible. Then we're going to bring back our friend from the pre-chorus. Everything's going to drop out. And this is pretty self-explanatory here. Some distorted guitars right here. And those are those add 9 chords again that again are very like Brad Delson, or it's like a very Deftones kind of sound. I have this little triplet fill here that plays at the same time, and I have some feedback here from the guitars that I just started a few seconds before recording, and then later on I automated the volume in. And I believe one of them is feedback, actually. This one is feedback. And this one, I think I just have I just like hit the guitar basically to make some noise. And this riff just sounds huge a lot because of those add 9 power chords that I've talked about before. Right there. That clean guitar melody keeps going, but it just has some vibrato on it, which I didn't mention earlier, that this guitar that plays in the choruses has vibrato on it, and the bass is just playing the root notes of it. Guitar, bass, and drums are all talking to each other. And I debated for a while about like adding some screaming in here, but I don't know. I honestly just felt like I said everything I needed to say on the song, and I couldn't really think of any reason there needed to be lyrics there. I thought it sounded pretty full as it is. Anyway, everything drops out in time with the drums. And then we just throw in this wild thing that was actually part of a different song, and I ended up just copying and pasting it here. And I didn't even realize that they were in the same key, and it works.
If you could
And so this rhythm is pretty much carried by, the rhythm section, obviously. So that would be bass and drums. But the bass and drums are doing this, and they're really carrying this. And then this just helps sell the rhythm and make it a little bit more interesting. I have this MIDI percussion here that I have as a tambourine. I don't actually know what it's called. Let's go find out together. Instrument editor. Dance kit. I don't know. Okay. And I just added some flanger and phaser to it to make it a little bit weirder. And I really hard cranked this to the left. And altogether it sounds like this. And then we go all the way, zoom up to the top here. We have a clean guitar in the background playing this melody. And that little run that I do there, that turn, I love that so much. And that was something that I improvised. I actually didn't know what to do there. I'm not much on improvisation, but you know what? I'm going to find my horn and I'm going to toot it because this just came to me in the moment. And if I wasn't recording and I said, oh shit, that sounded cool, and I went to record it, I probably wouldn't even remember what the hell it was. Why? Because I'm not formally trained, so I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. And then I have this sound effect here, the sound design that I did on my Korg mini log. You guessed it. And I'm going to play the whole thing because I love it. I love that so much. I don't know why. I changed the resonance frequency and just kind of brought it down in the background slightly. And that's how like the delay is still going, but you're getting this down pitching, down speed effect. Yeah, I wanted that to be a lot louder. I love the ambiance of it, but it honestly was starting to fight with the vocals a little bit. My vocal is just a simple single track here.
If you could define it for me, help me grasp my sovereignty.
I have some pretty heavy delay on here, this vocal delay, and I have the vocal delay in here. I actually have this tape echo, and then I really carved out the EQ on it, and then I put a flanger on the delay itself, which is another great thing about sending your effects to a bus, is that you can put effects and manipulate the effect separately from the primary recording. So the vocals don't have any flange on them, but the delay does, which helps also separate the delay from the vocals and helps the primary vocals stand out and not get lost in the delay.
Me grasp my sovereignty.
And there's a quick little like shouty background harmony here.
Something weirder.
And then the second part of this bridge section, I have this heavier guitar on just one channel on the left. And in the other track, I have this string melody. And this is fun because the string melody is an interpolation of the string melody that you hear in the beginning. The rest of the song is in a major key, but this part is actually in a minor key. And so if I played it in the major key, it would sound weird. So a couple notes I had to just move around to make it sound like it fit. And so you get a much more sort of tragic and somber version of that earlier melody. And if you compare that to this, and that kind of interpolation is fun. It's like a leitmotif, right? You watch Star Wars and every character has their own motif, their own little melody, and it sometimes gets interpolated in different ways depending on the context. And then we go into a final chorus, and I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. I think the final chorus is I just did it once. I figured the song was pretty long. You know, we're already at 4 minutes at the end of the bridge. I didn't think we needed to do a double or even triple chorus at the end. And I thought it would be cool to just wrap it up and keep it short. And then we end pretty suddenly.
Falls into the deep.
That is Droplet. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Go listen to my album, please. That's your Christmas gift to me, or holiday gift, or just because you love me. Tell people about it. Tell people about this. I enjoy shouting into the void, but it'd be nice if there was a couple people in the void. I'm kind of shocked at how much I forgot already. It's not even been like a year. It's been like 6 months. So yeah, we'll see. I'll talk to you in like 5 years. I will probably have forgotten my name. Bye.